Is it a big staff? It's quite erect. The NES created a plethora of video games from 1985 to 1994. There's officially around 678 licensed Nintendo games, along with about 97 or so unlicensed. There's also PAL exclusive games, HES games, and Sachin games for the system. I'm here to discuss with you 5 video games that I think went under the radar and deserve some more much needed loving. So here's my top 5 true hidden NES gems.
Number 5. The Magic of Scheherazade. Also known as Arabian Dream Scheherazade in Japan. This is an action role-playing game released by Culture Brain in 1989 to the North American market. The synopsis of the game involves the quote-unquote nameless hero who suffers from amnesia as he embarks on a quest to save the Princess Scheherazade from the evil wizard Saberon. This cocksmooch has summoned a demon Gora Gora to prevent you from getting your old lady back. I mean, a man has to do what a man has to do to roast the broomstick, if you know what I'm saying. The game will take you through 5 worlds, where you can travel back and forth in time to find characters to recruit.
I want you to understand something.
You also have to learn new spells, obtain magical items, and save your princess's family throughout the game. This game has a lot of the same elements as the original Zelda, and also has a lot of random stuff scattered throughout the game to keep you entertained enough to play until the end. The game was supposed to release a sequel in 1990, but funding for it got pulled, and it was never released.
Show me the money.
Number 4. Pasa Nadu. Pasa Nadu is an action role-playing platform adventure game released by Hudson Soft in 1989 for the North American market. The story of this game is you, the main character, who is known as the Unnamed Traveler, as he returns to his hometown after a hiatus from a severe cocaine and brothel attending binge. Well, I mean, they don't really go into detail of where he was. Anyway, the hometown he reps is a part of a massive inhabited tree, where he comes to find out it's been abandoned because the tree's water source has stopped, and now he is tasked to find out the cause and save the tree. Gameplay is a side-scrolling platforming style of play. This game being released fairly early in the NES's lifetime, it is regarded to having some of the best graphics for its day. As the story unfolds, you find out that the elves and dwarves lived in harmony among the world tree until the Evil One emerged from a fallen meteorite and transformed the dwarves to evil monsters against their own will to kill the elves. Alright, the story is a little far-fetched and whack, but the game itself is very good, and although being very under the radar, it is heavily referred to being better than the first Legend of Zelda, or even the first Castlevania. Number 3. Nightshade, Part 1, The Claws of Sudok. Nightshade, being released in 1992 by Ultra Games and Beam Software, is an action-adventure game. This game was supposed to be the first in a series of many, hence the in-game title, but unfortunately no sequels were ever made. However, Nightshade did serve as a basis for the 1993 Super Nintendo game Shadowrun. With a heavy Egyptian influence, the game takes place in Metro City, where the local superhero known as Vortex is gangbanged and dead as a dodo. This in return lets the crime in the city grow out of control when the villain Sudok combines all the gangs into one, Blood and Crip style.
Ran for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that.
The character you play as, Mark, aka Nightshade, decides to put these chumps in their place, vowing to rid the city of the crime. During the game, the more you help people throughout the city with crime, your popularity meter grows, which allows you to have access to more areas in the game. In the game, you are like a detective, and it includes a point-and-click feature that is pretty fun to navigate through. The coolest aspect of this game is when you die, and you have to escape from these different death traps. If you can escape, you live. If you can't, the game ends. In the end of this badass game, you gotta spank that Sudok ass and bring back the peace to Metro City. Yeah, buddy. Number 2. Startropics. Startropics is an action-adventure game released by Nintendo in 1990. Interesting fact, unlike most of Nintendo's games, it was never released or intended to be released in Japan. But the irony of the whole story, it was designed by Japanese fellers living in the States. Man! This game is unlike any others on the list, and did have a sequel that is equally as good. The storyline of this game follows your character, Mike, as he travels and visits his old uncle, who is an archaeologist called Dr. Stephen Jones, at his laboratory on Sea Island of the South Seas. When Mike arrives at his home in the village of Coral, he finds out that his uncle is missing. You then receive a Duncan yo-yo as a weapon, and his assistant gives you a dope-ass submarine to search for him. Yes, I said that correctly. A yo-yo for a weapon and a submarine for travel. You eventually find a message in a bottle from your uncle that explains that he has been abducted by aliens. The gameplay itself is a 2D top-down perspective, and the coolest thing of all is the original game you received. There was a little letter from your uncle that you had to physically dip into water, which would reveal a frequency. You then had to reveal this to your dude man robot, Babu, in order to proceed in the game. That's badass. Number 1. The Battle of Olympus. This game, being my personal favorite for the NES system, was released in 1988 and called Olympus no Tatakataka in Japan. This game is a side-scrolling historical action-adventure video game. Geez, can the genre get any more specific? Developed by Infinity and published by Broderbund, this game takes place in ancient Greece, where it is being tantalized by old Hades, the dark ruler of the underworld. You know, like Greek mythology. Ring a bell?
Is a sucker for the little sucker. Here you go. You just...
Helene, the GF of Orpheus, who you play as throughout the game, is shanghaied by Hades, who is holding her against her will. On your quest to get your old lady back, you must meet Greek gods to gain their favor, starting with Zeus, who is the leader of all the Olympian gods and encourages them to grant you powers to defeat the Hades dog. These powers go into the form of weapons, shields, and other god-sent equipment. You even get a dope-ass harp to summon the pony Pegasus to carry you to distant locations. As you travel throughout the game, you fight various mythological creatures, such as Cyclops, Medusa, and Cerberus. Cerberus? I don't know, it's the three-headed pup. This game is relatively unknown, fun, entertaining, and I suggest if you've never played it before, give this puppy a gander.
And broke at the end of the week. Bills due, the situation is bleak. No sleep, stomach rumbling, hunger pain, struggling, mumbling to myself, I don't want none of this.
I was laughing so hard I farted, Jeffrey.